Welcome back to Ask Dr. Rick on 590 The Fan, KFNS. If you have a question for Dr. Rick, please head to facebook.com/Ask Dr. Rick Lehman. Also, you can follow him on Twitter. Ask Dr. Rick now. Back to the show, presented by Bellman Buick GMC.
We continue with the show that you'll hear every Saturday between noon and 1 o'clock. Ask Dr. Rick. Rick Lehman is with us, and we'll get to some of those questions from listeners in our next segment. I'm Dan McLaughlin of Fox Sports Midwest. Ask Dr. Rick and Baseball Fridays. It's brought to you by Bellman Buick GMC. They are front and center, Bellman Buick GMC, at the Auto Show, and John Starnes is the general manager of Bellman.
We're just proud to be part of this great tradition here in St. Louis of the St. Louis Auto Show. And, Bellman's going to be participating in the Buick GMC showcase down there. And we're going to have some great Buick GMC models, actually including the 2014 GMC Sierra. It's just a phenomenal truck. Can't wait to see it. But we'll be represented down there, and we'll be glad to see you and visit with you as you come on down.
And when you visit with the staff from Bellman, you know you're visiting with some of the best in the industry. A team that's been together for decades. Not just in St. Louis, they're one of the best, but also the entire Midwest.
Bellman has been around for 40-plus years in the market, and we're excited to serve St. Louis and surrounding communities. We've got probably one of, if not the best, sales, service, and parts team in St. Louis. And actually, we feel like it's some of the best in the nation. And we're real thankful for our customers. And we offer things like guaranteed credit approval. No one is turned down. We've got things like up to $12,000 off on most of our 2012 new vehicles. Got some exciting things going on.
And that includes their hottest seller right now, the Buick Verano.
Unbelievable. I'm telling you, Buick Verano is phenomenal. It is so exciting, and it's so enthusiastic right now for our customers. Great gas mileage, super low pricing, great payments, unbelievable styling that just is off the charts. So, it's a phenomenal vehicle. You've got to come check this one out.
Bellman is rolling back prices on their 2012s. You can start by taking off $12,000 when you walk in the door.
Absolutely. Up to $12,000 off on 2012. We got it on Yukons, on GMC Sierras. We've got several models that we have to choose from. And I'm telling you, it's exciting because there's no one in town can match our prices. We are the price leader.
That's John Starnes of Bellman Buick GMC, located off I-270 and McDonald Boulevard. They're open right now. They're down at the Auto Show as well. They have employee pricing. Folks, that means you pay what the employees pay. They also want to make sure that you get the right deal on all cars, trucks, and SUVs, new or used. That's only at Bellman, where they have guaranteed credit approval. Again, guaranteed credit approval when you walk through their doors. So now, we're back with Dr. Rick Lehman. And, Doctor, we went to break talking about the first week of the NHL season. We weren't sure what we would see in this first week. Not a ton of injuries. What did you see?
It's interesting. We've had some overuse stuff in Florida. We haven't seen any really, really bad injuries in Florida. There have been a couple in the league. You've seen a lot of fighting, which I was surprised. I usually preview virtually every game and kind of go through them real quickly just to kind of see the injuries, to see the patterns of play, etc. And we're seeing a lot of fighting, which, again, surprises me a little bit. And we're seeing some overuse, but we haven't really seen any huge disastrous injuries. I think the play has slowed down a little. I don't think we're playing as aggressive as I think we would have been playing had we had a full camp. And I think the play is going to pick up a little bit. It's been a little bit slow, not as chippy as I would have expected. But I think what you're going to see is things kind of ramp up. You're going to see the play get a little tighter. Players are going to get a little chippier. Hits are going to get a little bit bigger. And hopefully we don't see any more injuries. But it concerns me that we're going to see an increase in significant injuries. Now, if we can kind of go at the rate we're going, we'll have an increase in our number of injuries than we normally would have, but it won't be huge. If things get tight, meaning you've got fewer games, each game means a little bit more, and the ice kind of gets a little smaller, I think then you're going to probably start to see a few more major injuries.
I don't know if you agree with me. I found it interesting in the first week. We did not see the injuries that we thought we might see when we talked last week before the Blues opener, meaning that these guys would be rushed into camp, not fully in 100% shape, obviously not going 100% for the last 3 months on the ice, and that you would see the pulls and the core and those kind of things, maybe some concussions. But I would guess, Doc, that the fact that some of these guys played over in Europe, that's got to be a huge contributing factor to allowing them to be in some kind of a semblance of shape getting ready for the NHL season and the speed and the physicality of the game.
I think you hit it on the head. I really do. I think you hit it on the head. And I think, in lockouts previously, there was a lot of sitting around. I think the guys worked out, they skated, they got together, but it's not the same as camp, or it's not the same as playing. And I think you had a lot of guys playing in alternate situations in Europe, playing in Russia. And I think the guys worked out at a much higher level. And I know personally from our guys, we had a number of guys playing in Russia. We had a number of guys playing overseas. And I know that the guys, when they came back, got together and worked out really, really hard. Some of them with our strength and conditioning guys, some of them individually. So I think they came into camp really ready to rock and in a much better shape. And I agree with you. I expected the number of injuries to be higher. And not injuries, but groins, adductors, sort of shoulders, sort of your typical, I just got beat up kind of injuries. And we didn't see it like I thought we would see it. And I think you're exactly right. I think a lot of the guys have been playing. They had it in their contracts that if the lockout got resolved, that they were going to come back, and it was fine. So they really didn't have that big downtime that we saw in the last lockout.
Rick Lehman with us, and final question about hockey, not injury or sports medicine related. You are a part owner of the Florida Panthers and serve as their team doctor. I'm curious, in the market of basically Miami, Florida, what's that like with the guys coming back and playing? Did the fans respond in South Florida?
Well, we had a great year last year. Made the playoffs, which we hadn't done in a while. Team is really young, really good. Probably not as good as the Blues. The Blues have a great team, which I follow them closely, and guys are all my friends, so I watch them very, very closely. And really, Florida, other than the Heat, hasn't really had much. The Dolphins have been brutal. University of Miami, which there's a whole big thing going on now that the investigators need to be investigated, so they've got that whole University of Miami thing hanging over their head, so they haven't been very good. And there really hasn't been a whole lot to cheer about other than the Heat in South Florida. So I think when hockey started back up, it was surprising. We sold out first game and pretty much probably going to sell out most of the games through the season. So we had a pretty good response given the fact that there's a beach and a lot of other stuff to do there. If we go south and don't play very well, our fan base goes south and doesn't come out. But I think if we continue to play pretty well and the Dolphins and the Hurricanes kind of don't really perform, I think we'll do pretty well this year.
Dr. Rick Lehman, it's Ask Dr. Rick here on 590 The Fan, KFNS, presented by Bellman Buick GMC. We've had a number of people write in on Facebook and have questions for Dr. Rick. We'll get to those right after this on 590 The Fan.